So what are you going to do with all that? What's your future look like? What do you want to do?
Yeah, so I want to get into political communications, which is not for the faint of heart, like we were discussing earlier. But I'm excited. I think that I'm being prepared for things that are beneficial for me for my future. How's it going?
Good. How about you?
Good. I'm John.
I'm Randy.
Nice to meet you, Randy. Where are you from?
Dromesville.
Dromesville. Okay, I'm from Ashland.
Okay.
So not too far away from
Ashland
me.
native too, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right. So what are you involved with?
Here on campus, I am the interim vice president for enrollment management. So I've been in enrollment management for my entire career here. So about 11 years, I've been working in one admissions office or the other, helping students find their way to Ashland and to pursue their future.
Okay.
How about you?
Very nice. I'm a student here at Ashland University, sophomore, studying communications and journalism with a minor in political science with the Ashbrook Center. So
Nice.
a little busy, but
Doesn't
good.
sound busy at all.
That's good. Yeah, right. No, I enjoy it. I enjoy Ashland University and all of that.
So what are you going to do with all that? What's your future look like? What do you want to do?
Yeah, so I want to get into political communications, which is not for the faint of heart, like we were discussing earlier. But I'm excited. I think that I'm being prepared for things that are beneficial for me for my future. So
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Good. What made you interested in political communications?
Just generally, like, I'm a huge history person. I don't know how about yourself, but I'm a huge history person. And so reading history books and stuff like that and seeing all the different things that have happened in the past and how, like, for example, Nixon and stuff like that, and how they handled that communications crisis and stuff like that. And so that really inspired me. I was like, hey, this is something I want to get involved with. Here I am.
Hey,
So
that's cool. I mean, I think more so probably now in the next 10 years than ever, political communications, I mean, communicating broadly is going to be more critical than any other. I have
we'll see.
one degree in political science and the other one in government, and political communications, I think, is going to be important for people to, your generation particularly, to know what's going on and to be able to trust the information that they're getting.
All right. Well, what inspired you to get a political science degree?
I wanted to be a history major.
Okay.
My mom told me that it was never going to make any money, so not to be a history teacher. History and political science at my undergrad were in the same department, so I was like, I thought it was my act of rebellion, so I got into it. I loved it, and I just everything happens for a reason, and so kind of got into it.
Very nice.
Then when I graduated college, I got home, 4 years in college in Kentucky. I went to Kentucky, and he was like, what are you going to do with that degree? As a snarky comment. So then I ran for office in our hometown. So, and I've been mayor since I was 24, 25. Yeah. So.
Okay. Very nice. What did you run for office for? What office did you run for?
I ran for a council seat.
Okay.
Just to prove a point that I could actually use my degree in political science for something.
There you go.
And then the acting mayor quit.
Okay.
He resigned. And so I became mayor at, I think it was 24, 25. Hated it for the first year, and then loved making a difference, and it was an easy way to make a difference. And so the years just kept rolling by, and by the end of this term, I've been mayor for 13 years. So
okay, very nice.
Short stint in public service, but
there you go.
Yeah.
Very nice. What has the experience of being a mayor taught you so far in the past 13 years?
I spent a collective 6 years studying national politics, and I realized through my work as mayor that all of the work that people talk about needing done is usually done on the local level. And so a reliance on the people, while it's not as flashy or glamorous, I don't have a security detail like the executive branch of the federal government, but I think for people who want to make a difference, but who are so tired of politics and the kind of way it is at the national level, local government is the way to go,
Right. I think so many people don't realize how important local government is. I've talked to so many people and they're like, I didn't know this office existed.
Yeah.
You're getting involved with this? This is great.
Yeah.
And
Well,
so
tell me about what you're getting involved with.
yes.
Yeah, come on.
So I'm running for office as well, kind of likewise as you, running for Montgomery Township Trustee, which is around this area in Ashland. And it's been good. I think one thing I've enjoyed, and this is probably something you can relate to, is just talking to people. Talking to people, seeing what they're involved with, seeing things that they want to get changed, and I definitely am enjoying it so far. So I definitely have a lot of stories, but it's good. It's been interesting. So, yeah.
It's so funny to me. People will tell you, I like talking to people.
Right.
I think after, doing it for as long as I have some pretty funny stories. But when people find out that you want to represent them, like you want to hold an office, they will tell you just everything about their lives, right? Even shy people will just kind of open up and
Right.
You're standing there, you're like, I did not expect any part of that, but it's really cool. And I think that's the power of people who, like us, who want to do things like that.
Exactly. I've gotten so many comments from folks talking about like things that don't really even concern the office that I'm running for.
Never.
They're like, how does this get solved? I'm like, you know what? I know a person. I'll tell you this. Here's their number. And so like just directing folks and saying, hey, here you go. Like just helping people in general, I think it's good. It's really good.
Yeah, it is. So what else? Tell me more about you.
So I also am involved with a few clubs here on campus. For example, like the Collegian, writing for the Collegian has been interesting. It's, journalism in general is a really good field to get into, but that's something I was interested in as well, additionally with political science and communications. I'm like, hey, I want to get involved with writing here and getting involved with journalism and stuff like that. And it's been interesting. I will say that much. Writing things, maybe tough stories that are hard to write about, are interesting, but it's enlightening because I'm able to do investigative journalism and stuff like that, and it's good.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. So what are you involved with outside of AU?
Well, I do a lot of mental health advocacy. So I just my book on surviving the loss of a loved one by suicide just came out this year. So writing hard stories while not investigative journalism is something else that I've done, and that's been really transformational for me. Every step of my career I've kind of fallen into by accident. I've kind of just trusted the universe to get me where I'm going, and this last year I've finished that book and released it, and then I've been talking to people about their own losses and what their struggles are, and that's kind of been my new magnet to purpose over the last couple months, is just spending a lot of time with people who've lost loved ones and are dealing with grief and everything that gets left behind. And so that takes up, besides my family, that's really where my heart is right now.
Okay. How is writing a book? Because that sounds very interesting. How is that?
Incredibly difficult. I wrote that book 14 times. It was at the beginning about 296 pages. And then my editors were like, these are people who need short, sweet, to the point kind of help. And so it got boiled down to 90 pages. So there's a lot of remnants, but refining and, just working through, if you can't tell, I'm a talker, so I like to talk a lot. Book is huge, but really boiling it down and just distilling it to include what would matter to people in crisis. And so not for academic purposes, but really for somebody who's just really struggling and doesn't know where to go. They need a resource. They can pick it up. It's short, sweet. They can put it down as many times as they need to. And so challenged some parts of my brain that I hadn't used in a few years.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So how was that process like? Because you said you talked to other folks as well writing the book. How was that process like, just talking to folks?
Well, I had a lot of practice talking to people, but talking to people about some of the hardest moments of their life, that can get a little challenging, but it's really cathartic, because I feel like we don't always get to talk about, grief in that way. So, there's a social stigma around mental health issues. And so being able to be in a space where you can talk to each other about it safely, you know, I think that's really cathartic and freeing, liberating, maybe even.
Yeah, very interesting. Well, like I said, I've never written a book, but it sounds very interesting for sure. What advice would you have for somebody who is thinking about writing a book?
Depending on your personality, don't try to do what others have done. The beauty and art of writing is really in the story. I mean, just like if you think about our lives, there's some of the people we've talked to, right? Some of the stories that we get to hear, they're not scripted. They're not, you know, it's not like phase 1, phase 2, then, you know, some of the art, and especially in that book particularly, is in its kind of stream of consciousness, kind of following through, because mine is, you know, my writing was meant to help people who don't know where to go for help. And so that's not a logical linear progression. It's kind of all over the place. And so the book has to be all over the place to meet people where they are. So know your audience and then write for your audience, whatever that audience is.
Right. That's a very key thing. Figuring out what your audience is, I think, is also very good. So is that the only book you've written, or have you written other books? Or, because you sound like you have experience in this.
Yeah. So, yeah, I do have a couple other ones. My next one comes out in November, and I pivoted away from grief and surviving the loss of suicide. This one is inspired by the state of our national political discourse.
Okay. Wow. Not an easy topic.
No, it's not. But it's what I found in writing kind of a non-clinical book, like a layman's version for people struggling with grief that don't like all the jargon.
Right.
It's the same way with politics. In my background with 2 degrees in American history and government and political science, people, I think, disengage from politics a lot because they don't understand what it is and how it works. And so this is kind of a layman's guide for how to be a better citizen, how to be more engaged, how to get involved at the local level, at the state level, the national level. And that one's a little bit bigger because it's a little bit more, you know, inclusive of different topics. But I'm really excited about it. It's called For Which It Stands. And that one's coming out soon.
Very nice. So you're basically trying to show people how politics works, how government works, and stuff like that?
I'm trying to show them that we can, as a society, complain about all the ills that affect us, or we can be the change we want to see in the world. And so it doesn't require you to run for president. Or at the same time, your voting for president does not exempt you from the responsibility that the founders had for the republic and the members of that republic along the way. And so I think it's a call to action to be more than just, you know, a voter every 4 years. It requires participation. It requires education. It requires knowing, you know, how the system works and how it's supposed to work in order to make it work for us again. It's one thing to complain about how bad things are. It's another thing to know how to fix them. And if more people knew how to fix the problems, then we'd have fewer problems.
Right. Very good. Yeah, that's yeah. I
feel like I'm doing all the talking. You got to give me some now. You talk to me.
Well, I guess in relation to that as well, I had a mentor of mine many years ago. I was like 5 years old when I first met her, so it was quite a while ago. And she was like, "Hey, John, you look like you are getting involved with this stuff." Even at a very young age, she was like, "Hey, I see potential in you, okay?" And she handed me a Constitution, and I was like, "Okay, what is that?" And so even from, it was just like once a week, I met with her, and she was just like, "Here you go. Here is what the founders intended," stuff like this. I was like, okay, sounds very interesting. And by the time I was in high school, I was like, this may be something I want to get involved with. And so just having folks that are encouraging you to get into fields like politics or whatever it may be is very important. And for me, it was very important and very influential in my life. And so seeing that people are writing books about it to help other folks, I love it. So good.
I mean, I think anybody who's in our shoes, right? I think it's easy for us to just assume, well, this is it's the Constitution, right? Everything makes sense about it. But people by and large don't. I mean, if you look at our education system, civics education, we're fortunate to be as close as we are to the Ashbrook Center, who prioritizes that. But I think nationally, we've gone away from emphasizing and understanding of that. And I think we have to bring that back to a degree if we want to support all the other fields that we want to be, strong in.
Very good. Yeah, very good. I think one word that keeps recurring in my mind when I talk to folks about politics or stuff like that, I think about e pluribus unum, having of many one, just having the thought of what the founders intended in the 1700s about where we are today and how we got here, and just discovering that, hey, your voice matters, everybody's voice matters, and if we come together, even if we may not agree, I think it's good.
I don't think we're supposed to agree, right? I think that's the beauty of it. And I think another benefit of being where we are is that I think we learn more. I think we gain more from disagreeing, and that's one of my big contentions, is that we're supposed to disagree. If you have one idea and I have another, and instead of you being wrong and me being right, or me being wrong and you being right, if we put those two together and find that there are good pieces of yours and good pieces of mine, and we put those things together, we ultimately come up with a better solution, right? And this goes when we're talking in the context of politics, but it really goes for everything, right? If we work together more than we try to this zero-sum game of I have to win, so you have to lose so that I can win. I don't see us advancing as fast. I mean, if you look at the history of this country, so much was done by collaboration and working together. I mean, did Alexander Hamilton and Thomas Jefferson like each other? No. Did they work together? Probably not as much as they should have, but stuff got done, right?
That's
exactly. A joke. That was an inside, history. Only history nerds will get that joke. But I think that when you look at it, when you look at society and how it advances quickly, it's an educated people that do it. It's an involved people. It's a people, a society rooted in collaboration and working together and not tearing apart. And I think nobody gains from that. And so whether it's politics, whether it's science, whether it's literature, or I think we have more to gain together than we do apart.
Right, exactly. And I think that in an environment like this, we're able to talk about things that, hey, we may not agree with this particular subject, but we're able to talk about it and how can we benefit everyone involved. And I think that's the huge thing in politics that we always need to remember is, hey, there's a lot of people affected by this. How are we going to make sure that everybody is okay, stuff like this. And so that's very good. Right, very good, very good. So you enjoy history. What is one of your favorite history people in history throughout? It could be American history. It could be anybody in general.
Oh, that's such a tough one.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me tell you.
Okay.
Oh God, I can't believe I'm going to admit this.
Okay.
I'm an American historian out of necessity because we didn't have a British history. I couldn't find a British history graduate program.
Okay.
I fell in love with it. Let me just say, I did my master's degree here. So I did it with all of the history teachers in the Master of American History and Government.
Yes.
Love the program, but my heart is in British history. So, the bridge over in the Revolution, I would have, I tell my classes this all the time when I teach or when I taught American history of the Civil War. I probably would have been on a list somewhere for being a suspected Tory, just because, of all of history, did you ask me who? I got sidetracked.
Yeah.
I was like,
general. Yeah.
Queen Victoria.
Okay.
Fascinates me.
Okay.
Because she was in a role that was never meant to be hers, but she literally just, through sheer force of will, changed the face of the empire. And something about, her dynastic, she married all of her grandchildren to the crowned heads of Europe. And then ultimately her grandsons, plunged the world into war in World War I. So I think probably I have a lot of questions for her.
Okay. So that's the one person you would ask questions
the most random historical figure anybody's ever picked on a podcast. But yeah, I think I have a lot of questions for her. What about you?
Okay. There's quite a few. I'm more of an American history guy. So, typical. But I think one of my favorites is obviously, you have to say George Washington. If you don't say George Washington, I'd ask why first. But just, I guess, being an inspiration of starting a country, helping start a country, but also then taking that country to its potential, the top potential that I can grow with. And I think George Washington is an example of that. I think him, especially his second inaugural address, was very influential, just saying, hey, I'm here to help folks, but I'm not here to stay in power. And like having that, and even his farewell address as well, just saying, hey,
Say the farewell address. Right?
I'm here for 2 terms, and that's it.
Yeah.
See ya.
Yeah.
And went back to Mount Vernon. And so I think just having that as in anything, just, hey, I'm here to help people as well, not just for myself. And I think that's a key thing to think about with whatever you do.
Washington is just a fascinating. He's also fascinating. I mean, I think he gets. We all get a very glossed over version of Washington. In grade school, right? The father of the nation, right? He's got, but he's such a complex figure.
Right.
Yeah, I have a lot of questions for him too. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he tells us not to do X, Y, and Z, and then immediately we proceed to do X.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think it's interesting. Yeah. Okay. You win. Washington's cool too.
Okay.
I want both of them separately, but yeah, I want to meet both of those.
There you go. Yeah, there's so many people to meet. I mean, I'm currently going through the Federalist Papers as well, so it's been very interesting. Just talking about John Jay, and the Alexander Hamilton, and their little thing that they got going on there as well. Just like, how do we convince people that the Constitution is a good thing? And so I think it's interesting. So just the conversations that they had, the papers that they wrote, trying to convince people, it's never easy to convince people. And that is something that they try to do.
No.
I think that's also something about politics as well, is you have to talk to everybody, even if they don't agree with you. And in this instance, like the Federalist Papers saying, hey, this is why this is good. Here you go. Here's, 85 or 80 different papers to tell you, hey, here you go.
Yeah. I don't know how they coordinated that in the 1700s. I mean, if you think about the sheer, I just, and then, we should bring those back. I think that there should be more people, somebody create a publication under Publius and just write the Federalist Papers again, right? Anonymously, for everyone in the modern age, right? We have to claim credit for it, but I think it was super cool that they did that. When you think about Hamilton's personality, and Jay is so underrated. John Jay just does not get enough credit for his work because he's the tempering force for Hamilton, right? And you can almost tell when you read him who Hamilton is and who Jay is because it's a completely different tone, but yeah, it's cool.
Right. Well, I think, like you mentioned, I think it's something from the modern age. Like social media is a very good, impactful tool when it comes to this, because now people can share their opinions. It doesn't have to be on paper like it was back in the 1787 era. And so having social media and being able to share your opinion on whatever social media app it is good. And I think educating folks, saying, hey, here's your tools, share your opinion, but also be open to open dialogue, debate, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Are your opinions correct? Let's find out.
Yeah, I think socially that's, and I'm biased because I work in college admissions, right? So I think everybody needs critical thinking skills. I think that it's powerful in its democratic nature that everybody can say their opinion and it be broadly received. I think we as a society have to reconnect ourselves with the value of truth. And just because you read it on the internet doesn't mean that it's true. Right. And so you need to be able to defend your position. You need to be able to also hear alternative perspectives, or if you are mistaken or incorrect, admitting that is very difficult, right? And being open to that. And as I'm sure your mentor said it when you were 5, and I probably have gotten a strong glimmer of it here. I think if you have a future in public service, you didn't ask for advice, but
I will take advice.
I'm going to give it to you anyways, because I think that one of the hardest lessons I learned, because I didn't have anything to go on, was when you are in public service, you're not in politics. Stay connected to serving others with your heart and your mind, right? And you're Ashland educated, so I know you're going to do really good at that.
There we go. That's great.
But when you are wrong, there is this pressure to be the best all the time, because if you don't, somebody will run against you in an election and beat you. Be okay with that, but always be authentic and be your true self. And so when you make a mistake, admit it, tell people, correct it, have a solution that does work, or say, we're going to need to collaborate on this, right?
Right.
I mean, to government, of the people, by the people, and for the people. let them participate and let them help. I think that is one of the hardest lessons I learned. And so that little nugget of wisdom.
Interesting.
Pass
Yeah.
on to
No,
you.
I think one of the big things I'm running on for my campaign is transparency, just being open with people. Because I think that's one thing a lot of folks are a little nervous about politics is like, oh, it's this place that you can't really necessarily talk about. It's really shady, stuff like this. But realistically, it shouldn't be that way.
No.
The founders intended it for open dialogue, like we talked about earlier, and saying, hey, let's be transparent with each other. What are we doing with our Republican democracy? Having that, being able to vote people in to make those decisions for you, but being transparent to the folks who voted for you. It's obviously a challenge sometimes, but it's good.
Yeah.
It's what they intended, and I think it's good.
Yeah.
So
That's fair.
very good. So do you have like any other advice for folks who are getting involved with at a young age and places that may be hard for them to get involved with? Like politics?
I'm trying to remember myself, 11 years ago, and I was much older than you at that point. I wanted to change the world. And I wanted to start from the grassroots and go up. After 13 years, I'm retiring from public service. So I didn't make it to the state level like I wanted to originally. No, but look, I think when you have a calling, right? When you're fortunate enough to, at 19, to hear that clarion call for purpose, like to just drive you forward, you're extremely fortunate.
Yeah.
I was fortunate, right?
Yeah.
Don't let anybody take that away from you, because no matter how much good you try to do,
Right.
somebody somewhere will always have an axe to grind that has nothing to do with you. So don't take it personal.
Right.
Do the best you can. Remember all of the good that you are doing. Somebody told me once that my town hall is empty habitually every month. Nobody comes to town hall meetings, the council meetings, right?
Right.
And I was like, man, I'm putting it all over social media. We're live streaming it. And I think it was one of my professors in the master's program. He was like, people don't tell you when you're doing a good job. They only tell you when you're doing a bad job. So don't let that get to you, right? Keep doing the good work. You see the impact. You might not hear that, but you'll see the impact, and that's really what you're doing it for, right? It's not about the thanks. It's about the change, and as long as you see the change, then you've accomplished your goal.
Right.
So
and I think, like you said, through education, is saying, hey, here's why you should go to the town hall.
Yeah, I mean,
you know what I mean?
You should. It's not, it's so important for people to be involved. You don't have to be the office holder, right? Just be involved. Have a conversation. I would love to get more mail full of letters of people's opinions on decisions that I have to make. But in the absence of those, if nobody's telling me what they think, then I have to base it on my own judgment. And if they don't like that, then I would love the alternative, but you have to, that requires you to participate. You can't just call me after I make the decision, because holding office is about having responsibility. And so when you have that responsibility, you got to make the decision. It doesn't wait for people's, schedules to clear. You have to make snap decisions sometimes. And when you do, you have to make the best choice that you think you can make. And that's ultimately why representatives are trusted with the decision-making power by the people, is so that the people can go do their thing and live their lives, and we make good, solid decisions on their behalf.
Right. That's right. And it surprises me when I tell people, like, hey, your public officials that you voted in are so easily accessible. Like, you can just go to their office. It's so good. I mean, like, for example, if we're here in Ashland, Ohio, we have a representative who's really easily accessible. Just go to their office.
Amazing.
And so just encouraging people, hey, anything that you're worrying about, go talk to the folks that are involved with that situation and go. It's good.
Yes.
Very good. So
yeah.
I think that's also a key thing of running for office as well, which you may be able to relate to this, is just telling people to get involved, and not just like, hey, vote for me. Here you go. Here's a piece of literature and I'll run away. Yeah. But it's more of like, hey, this exists, and we want you to be involved. Here's how you can do it. Yeah.
That's what I did with everybody who told me that they didn't want to vote for me. I was like, good, get involved. I would love to debate with you. Right.
Yeah.
I want to talk about it. I think there's more value. I keep in touch with more people that, I've encountered along the way that have challenged my perspective, because I think there's a lot of value there. Just socially, I mean, even friends, I think I have a lot of friends that I disagree with on certain issues, and we are so close because we have really meaningful dialogue, and That's really cool.
Right. And it challenges you, like, for example, those friends, people that you can trust, saying, hey, I don't know what I believe this. Can we like talk about this? And having that conversation with those folks and saying, hey, you know what? I'm even stronger now than I was before I went into this conversation, saying that, hey, I like this opinion. Or maybe not. Maybe you change your opinion. And that's maybe for the betterment of other people.
Yeah.
And so I think it's good. I think that's what politics is about.
Yeah.
And general just people. Yeah, it's good.
Man, I'm excited to see what I'm excited to see where you go now.
I'm also, we'll see how it goes. But I think, like you said, just getting involved. Also, being young as well is not necessarily the easiest thing. But I think it's as well having inspiration. Having inspiration of different individuals. Like, for example, we mentioned Thomas Jefferson. He was what, 32 when he wrote the Declaration of Independence. Just having that inspiration.
Somebody with the capacity and energy of youthfulness,
right,
can get a lot more done because we're a lot more. We have that fire in our bellies to make change and to do things. And I think the world hasn't convinced us, as we get older, the world convinces us that we should settle into our position. You don't have that when you're your age. You didn't have that when you were my age, when I was starting out. Right. And I think we need more of that. So if people really want to see change, but they don't, they're like, you're too young to be this.
Right.
Are you kidding me?
Right. And I think it's also important for young people who are getting involved, saying, also surround yourself with older folks who've been involved as well, because mentorship and stuff like that is very vital because of you don't want to like make decisions off the cuff without having, without having mentors that will guide you as well.
Well, and I think mentors can gain if you think about it, it's a two-way street.
Right.
Your generation can help my generation stay connected to what's happening and that kind of,
right.
I don't know. I'm searching for the word, but that desire for changing the world, you connect us to that. Yeah, that energy, right? Which I think is really cool. And I think that's undervalued. I think that when we talk about mentorship, it's like an older, more experienced person helping a younger person getting into the field. I don't buy that at all. I think there's just as much to gain from fresh perspectives. And, I learned probably just as much from my students here when I was teaching American history about what was happening in, in society, that they did about American history and government, because the dialogue is what's important. And so when you actively listen and you speak from an empathetic standpoint, I don't think you have anything to lose.
Right, exactly. And I think, well, for example, for at Ashland University, having professors that will be able to talk to you and just say, hey, here's what I think you should do, but telling you kind of how to think, not what to think, having that idea. I see what I did there. But
you did there. No, but you have a future in politics.
It's true though. It's just having conversations with folks who I may not agree with when it comes to their general stuff, like professors, but they have so much wisdom to give, and just listening to that wisdom and being able to apply that to, well, right now we're running for political office. So
I'm stoked for you, man.
Thanks.
The number's not very far off. We got like a month and 2 weeks.
Yeah, about. So it's good. I'm excited.
My last election was what did me in. I was like, this is I can't. I commend you for doing campaigning, because I was way too into it last time that I was like, okay, that was a great finish. I will not be doing this again.
Right. And
after 4 times, I was like, no, I'm not going to be doing this again.
There you go. Well, I think this is with any field, is just how involved do you get? Like I'm a very ambitious person. And so when I get into any field, for example, just okay, now I'm going to set this time for this certain thing, but also for friends and family and stuff like that. Like, how do you, this is also a question. How do you block that out? Say, hey, now's the time for mayor. Here's the time for this job, and here's the time for family. Do you have any advice for folks?
That's probably, in all seriousness, that's probably one of the hardest things I've dealt with. When you're a township trustee or you're a village mayor, right? People know where you live.
Right.
People have known you. I grew up in that town, so people knew me when I was a kid. People used to babysit me. Then now I was in charge of all of this stuff. That line got blurred a lot more in my early days, than I would have, in retrospect, liked for it to. People would come to my house. People would call at all hours of the day and night. And I wanted to help, right? And I had told them that, right? I made them that promise. If they made me their mayor, I would change things and I would help clean up some of their issues.
Right.
So I did that. I earned that. I think it's surrounding yourself with understanding people, right? My wife knows how much it meant to me to help people and to be, a servant to other people and to help. She knew that I was called to that, and that was my purpose. And so she understood it. Did she always like it? With a newborn in the house and people knocking on the door because there's a dead raccoon somewhere that they need picked up. Probably not as much as, but she was a trooper throughout, and she's done a lot. There've been really great days, and there's been really, hard days. And surrounding yourself with people who understand and who appreciate what you're trying to do and what you're trying to accomplish is my best advice. For both the good days, to surround yourself with people who are going to celebrate with you like no other, and then who are going to help pick you up when you're down,
right,
and reassure you that it's going to be okay, and
right,
it's not the end of the world,
right. And I think that's very fair. I think that's an example also for college as well, surrounding yourself with people that are studying the same exact thing that you are, and say, hey, like, here, I'm going to help you with this, but also like having those friends that say, for your lowest points and for your highest points, they're there to celebrate with you. And I think that's one of the cool things about having a degree somewhere at some university, specifically here at Ashland University too, is just being able to relate to those people and having lifelong friends is very key for anywhere you're going in life.
Agreed.
So very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
All right, man.
Yeah.
Great talking to you.
Great talking to you as well. I am definitely interested, and also like always listening. Like I said, like the mentorship stuff is just very good. Just talking to folks that have already experienced stuff and seeing where they're going and being able to learn from that. I think
same.
Cool. So yeah. Well, it was nice to meet you.
You too.
See you around.
See ya.